Hello there! Welcome to the Saroy channel, wherever you are in the world. So much love to each and every one of you. How are you doing? I do hope you're doing remarkably well. I'm so glad you've joined me for part 3 of our story tonight, but before we continue, let me just refresh you that we have a lovely lady called June Jones, who has moved into a wonderful apartment in Seattle, overlooking the Space Needle. She's discovered that her neighbour is a lovely lady called Isabella. Her shortened name is, of course, Izzy. She's heavily pregnant. She had a run-in with her neighbour, and it does sound that her neighbour has a rather very domineering husband. And it's usually his way or the highway, and he's OCD about everything and very upset if she doesn't deliver everything he wants on time. But she is having a baby, and she's determined to have her baby the way that she wants to, in a birthing pool. And this has not gone down well with her husband, and he's very angry with their next door neighbour for influencing his wife in what he considers to be a very negative way. So let's continue with our story. After my less than reassuring encounter with Rog, I did try my level best to persuade Izzy to take the hospital route as far as the delivery of her baby was concerned, but she wouldn't hear of it. "Your husband's in a right state, Izzy, over everything," I warned her. "He came marching over to my apartment, accusing me of being some kind of hippie or new age freak, filling your head with wild, nonsensical ideas. He thinks I'm a very bad influence on you, Izzy, and he's very concerned about the delivery of your baby, in case something were to go wrong. Maybe you should listen to him, do things his way. I mean, you both are having this baby. Think about it for a moment, will you? I'm really sorry that he did that to you. I really am, June. I'm sorry he waltzed over to your apartment, causing such a spectacular scene. It's embarrassing, it really is. He had no right to do that to you, and this is not your fault. Don't blame yourself, for goodness sake. You mentioned an alternative form of delivery. I didn't even know I had other options available to me, and I liked the idea. Unfortunately, Rog thinks that taking the natural way of doing things is like taking a step backwards in time. My husband can be a nightmare when he gets mad about something, and I'm sorry you were on the receiving end of his wrath. I think right now you're not exactly Roger's favourite person, but I wouldn't worry about it. You're telling me, Izzy, I hate to say this to you, but your husband really scares me. When he walked past me straight into my house, without even my inviting him in, I seriously thought he was going to thump me. I've never seen anyone look so angry. He was absolutely furious. Well, don't let him upset you. His bark is worse than his bite, June. He's being absolutely ridiculous about all this. My pregnancy is perfectly healthy. I've had that confirmed by my gynecologist. I've got everything organised with a midwife on hand. The birthing pool is set up. It only needs to be filled with warm water on the day that I give birth. I'm excited about doing this the natural way, and I don't care a jot what Rog thinks about it. It's about time, for once in my life, we do things my way and not his. I'm so relieved I can give birth at home. You have no idea. I cannot believe you're standing up for yourself like this, Izzy, I said, unable to hide my admiration. I think if I was married to the likes of your husband, Rog, I would buckle under the forceful pressure of his demands. Your husband frightens me a lot. I used to consider myself intimidated about my boss, Mr. Bridges, at work. But your husband makes Mr. Bridges seem like a walk in the park. Your husband is so intimidating. I've never met anyone like him before. And it doesn't help that he's massive, in size, I mean. Rog is a big bully. I wouldn't worry about it. You're not the first to feel this way about him. Sometimes I'm scared rigid of him myself. But I'm not going to let him bully me over this. Don't blame yourself for any of this, June. You merely opened my eyes to other options available for me about giving birth. But are you sure you want to do it this way? I asked. What if the delivery is painful? What if something goes wrong? I want to embrace it all. Don't you understand, June? And I'm not worried about things going wrong. My pregnancy looks perfectly fine as far as the gynecologist is concerned. I'm not concerned about it at all." "I think I get where you're going with this," I said. "Not that I'm going to say it makes any sense to me at all. Me, myself, I hate hospitals. But certainly if I was having a baby of my own, I'd definitely be having it in a hospital. And to be fair to your husband, Rog, I do understand his trepidation about your choice. It can't be easy for him, and I can't fault him on that one, although he is so incredibly disagreeable." When it came close to the time that Izzy would be sure to give birth, I spent less time with her, as her husband Rog was hanging around the place like a noxious bad smell, and I knew better than to spend time with Izzy when he was around, as he would make me feel very unwelcome. He had made his feelings about me very clear, and whenever I crossed his path, he would abruptly say, "Oh, it's you, the hippie again. And just when I thought I was going to have a good day, you've certainly ruined it for me." I knew I wouldn't be able to help Izzy during the birthing process, much as I would have liked to, as Rog would not want me anywhere near his wife while she was giving birth, and I respected that. Izzy was now enormous, as the day of her delivery loomed ever closer. I noticed her ankles were getting incredibly swollen from the weight of her baby, and behind Roger's back, I helped her around the house as much as I could. Even though his wife was heavily pregnant, Rog still continued to expect her to cook for him and to clean the apartment up so fastidiously that there wasn't a dust particle in sight, with his exacting standards, of course. I could see Izzy was beginning to resent his constant demands when she was battling extreme exhaustion, as growing a baby can be tough on the body. "I love my husband to a degree," she confided in me, "but I don't like him very much. What do you think about that, June? I really don't like him. I hate to admit that, but I was thinking about that the other day, and I thought, yes, I do love him, but no, I don't like him." "What do you mean?" I asked. "Exactly what I've just said. I don't like him. I would hardly describe us as friends, and being friends is so important with your partner, is it not? It's a prerequisite for a happy marriage, don't you think?" "Of course it is," I agreed. "I'd never ever marry someone unless they were first my best friend. Otherwise, what's the point? It's a recipe for disaster." Izzy let out a rather large, discontented sigh. "Are you all right? What's the matter, Izzy?" I asked. She shrugged her shoulders nonchalantly. "Well, it's just everything we've just been discussing, isn't it? I mean, I wish I was best friends with Rog. I wish we were so close. But we're not. We're none of those things. I made so many mistakes when I was younger," she said with regret. "For the life of me, I do not know why I ever married Rog. Sometimes I look at him, June, and think, what the hell have I done? What the hell did I ever see in this man? You know what I mean?" I nodded. "I think I know what you mean. Things do change, don't they? Sometimes people do too." "It's not that," said Izzy, shaking her head. "I don't think Rog ever changed. I don't even know if I really did. Maybe I did. Maybe I grew up. Maybe I saw the wood for the trees. I don't know. But the truth is, I never knew Rog. When we got together, we were far too young. I was innocent, naive, callow, ignorant, and incredibly impressionable. Everybody told me I'd snagged a big chunk of all right. And you know what? I believed them. Well, to be fair, he has got those stereotype Scandinavian good looks. He takes care of his body, doesn't he?" "Yes, he does. But that's no big deal. What's the point of caring about the outside when the inside is in a bad way?" Izzy crinkled her brow. She made a face. "You know what? When you buy an apple, and it's so perfect on the outside, you would never believe when you bit into that perfect apple that it could taste so awful. That's what it's been like with Rog. I get what you're saying. You don't like the fact that the outside doesn't match his inside. That's exactly right. You see, I fell for Rog very hard. Hook, line and sinker, you could say. I was completely smitten, totally infatuated by him. I wouldn't have a bad word said about him. I believed he was pretty close to as perfect as you could get. I was so seduced by his handsome appearance. Can you believe I was that shallow, that naive, that whimsical? My mother saliently warned me about the likes of Rog. She never liked him one little bit, neither did my father, and they told me as much. They both believed that he had an inflated ego and a huge superiority complex, where he believed he was better than everybody else around him. They also felt he was completely controlling over me, and was rather belittling and patronizing. I told them they were completely wrong about Rog, that they had misunderstood him, that he was a genuinely nice guy, and I really believed that. They thought Rog liked me because he was attracted to me physically, and because I was easy to control and dominate, as I'm naturally quite demure by nature. They were right about that, of course. My mother did happen to notice Roger's OCD, I'm afraid, when he lined up all her serving dishes in a straight line and went around resetting her table, claiming the knives and forks weren't straight. She believed that Roger's punctiliousness would come back to haunt me one day, as by nature I'm inclined to be rather messy, so she saw this as an area of potential conflict in our relationship. She wasn't wrong about that, because as far as Roger's concerned, I can't do anything right. Everything is off-centre with me. Nothing is perfectly straight, if you know what I mean. My mother thought my predisposition to being rather messy would drive Rog absolutely insane. But the truth is, these days I'm not as messy as I used to be, because I fear how Rog will react towards me. By nature, I'm quite comfortable to leave clothes hanging on a chair, in a disordered array, but never with Rog around. When he's around, I'm literally walking on eggshells, so afraid to upset him in any way. So Roger's extreme perfectionism is driving you potty, I said. Izzy rolled her eyes. You can say that. Honestly, I don't know how I'm going to manage when the dirty diapers come along. I'm not sure I can continue living in this tense environment. Let's just say with the way Roger's treating me during this pregnancy, the cracks are beginning to show in our relationship. He's constantly telling me I'm a lazy cow, that I'm dithery and sloppy, that kind of thing, that I'm brain dead, and that everything I do is a catastrophic mistake. He finds me far too messy and complains tirelessly about my untidiness, even though I think I'm being incredibly neat. The worst part of it all is we're not friends, if you know what I mean, and we never will be. That's the problem. I nodded. To tell you the truth, I'm not surprised you aren't friends. I mean, look at Rog. He's not a very approachable man. I don't suppose he has many friends anyway. Yes, he works out at the gym. Yes, he takes care of his body. But he's actually not a sociable person. He doesn't communicate well, and he's always angry. It's hardly surprising that you don't particularly like him very much. I don't. I never warm to him. He's cold and aloof. If it makes you feel any better, Izzy, you're not alone. A lot of marriages are like that, you know, where the couple are very detached towards each other. Is that supposed to make me feel better, June? Because I assure you it does not. I guess this birthing plan of mine has given me a feeling of power over Rog. It's a good feeling, because he moans about it non-stop. His mother was on the phone the other day from Arizona, begging me to reconsider my birthing options. She's devastated about my decision to have an unconventional, rather unorthodox birth. And do you know what? It actually feels good to be able to put my foot down and to insist on doing things my way. I know it sounds really dreadful, but I'm rather enjoying being contrary. Let's just say Rog and his mother do not like not being able to call all the shots as far as I'm concerned. But I'm the one carrying this baby, so all the decisions are mine. What did Roger's mother say to you? I asked curiously. I had understood from Izzy and her constant jabs about her dreadful mother-in-law that she was a capriciously difficult woman who was a perfectionist much like Rog and loved everything in life to be done smoothly, in a well-structured, very ordered way. For her, even leaving a coffee cup behind on the side of the sink, without washing it up at once and putting it away in the cupboards, was a criminal offence as far as she was concerned. Izzy had visited her mother-in-law's minimalistic home a plethora of times. It was devoid of clutter, smelling strongly of bleach. She had been unable to locate a speck of dust on anything. The woman's kitchen cabinets were so perfectly arranged, with baked beans and all tinned goods, lined up like an army of soldiers. Izzy described her mother-in-law's house as being so white, without any cheerful or bright colours around, and being as sterile and as unwelcome as a hospital. There was nothing about it that was wholesome or homely, she had said. I guess I understand now why Rog doesn't like the bright Moroccan colours I like, that I brought into this apartment. If he had his way, this apartment would be all white, and there would be nothing but the bare minimum of design, and there would be no ornaments on the coffee tables or countertops. You know, the only thing he likes to see is the coffee machine, the toaster, and a bowl of apples, and that's about all with Rog. Izzy began to act out her mother-in-law's reaction to the news of her birthing plan, which I could not help but find mildly amusing. I watched my friend rather successfully play out the role of her mother-in-law, even putting on the same posh voice to emulate her. Izzy should have been an actress, I thought. She imitated her mother-in-law masterfully. I had to try and conceal the big smile that was playing on my face, because Izzy was rather amusing. Well, she said to me, what is this I hear about you? Having a birthing plan set up in your apartment for the delivery of my grandchild. Please tell me this is some warped kind of insidious joke of yours, and that you're just toying with me, June. Because otherwise, my dear, I really am in a position where I find myself questioning your sanity. It's true. And for your information, I'm perfectly sane. It doesn't sound like you are, my dear. You've lost leave of your senses. You really have. Rog tells me your pregnancy brain is driving him completely bonkers, and by the sounds of you, I can understand why. He says you're all over the place with your scattiness, forgetting food in the oven, leaving it to burn to a cinder, failing to remember some of the most basic things you're supposed to do regarding household chores. Rog tells me you're becoming quite slovenly, dear. Very sloppy, leaving damp bathroom towels all over the bathroom floor, and half-open shampoo bottles lying in the bathtub, spilling out their contents. Dreadful waste, if you ask me. Shame on you, dear. I thought better of you than that. I was never like that when I was pregnant, I hasten to say. I managed to keep a scrupulously clean house. Never once did I ever burn anything for dinner. Furthermore, on the very day I delivered my precious Rog, I was producing his father first-class roasts with all the trimmings. I made it my mission to be an excellent wife and mother. You would do well to do the same. You don't want Rog to lose interest in you, do you, dear? He's very particular about his woman. Bully for you, I was saying to her under my breath. Aren't you so perfect, Cora? I think she heard because she snapped. What was that you were saying, Izzy? I hope, my dear, that you were not insulting me. If you must know, Izzy, I'm terribly concerned about my Rog. You're being incredibly selfish and self-centered, not including him in this birthing plan. It takes two to make a baby, not just one. I don't think you're being fair or reasonable. I am very shocked by all of this. I would like to remind you that Rog works incredibly hard to give you a high quality of life. He's worried to bits about this crazy, nonsensical birthing plan. And frankly, I can't blame him for that. I've never heard anything so ridiculous in all my life. In my day, people would have been appalled by a decision like this. Very shocked. It's not natural, nor is it normal. Cora, I snapped. There's nothing nonsensical about my birthing plan. Many women have chosen to go down this route very successfully, and I intend to be one of them. There was an uncomfortable, awkward pause at the end of my cell phone, as Cora digested what I was saying. She certainly did not like what she was hearing. Then, with an abrupt, indignant snort, she said, "I'm so sorry, Izzy, to have to tell you this. But I believe in being straightforward about things. And this is objectionable. Really it is. I cannot imagine for the life of me why any sane, clear-thinking woman would consider giving birth in this unorthodox way. Most normal women, myself included, judiciously have a baby in a hospital where you're supposed to have a baby, in the maternity ward. You would be wise to do the same. Have you given any thought to the baby you're carrying? No, I suppose you haven't. Why does that not surprise me? It's all about you, isn't it, Izzy? So typical of you. What about the fact that your baby may very well need medical supervision? There will be no doctors on hand to help you in the delivery plan. This I find very disquieting. Cora, there's going to be a midwife supervising me through the whole birthing process. A midwife? What does a midwife really know? You need a doctor around to supervise everything. What if things go horribly awry? Have you stopped to consider that for a second? Have you stopped to consider this child's grandmother? And have you stopped to consider Rog and the baby itself? No, you have not. You don't think about anybody else except yourself, and it's disgusting. And furthermore, I cannot believe that this gynecologist of yours is supporting you in this outrageous endeavour. I wonder, has she got cabbage between her ears? Has the world gone stark raving mad? Rog tells me the deranged next-door neighbour, living next to you, I believe, has been filling your head with these archaic, unconventional ideas. Now, why on earth would you listen to someone like that? She's a stranger to you. You barely know her very well. Are you going to listen to her advice? What does she know? I understand she's never even had a baby. She doesn't even know you from Adam, does she? You should be listening to me and Rog. We know what is best for you. This has got nothing to do with my next-door neighbour, Cora, I said indignantly. I've become good friends with her, though. But I'm having a baby this way by my own personal choice. I want to have my baby at home, in a comfortable place in the birthing pool. I've organised the whole thing, and I'm not about to go changing my mind any time soon. I'm sorry, Cora, if that doesn't suit you, but I've made my mind up, and it's not to be changed. For goodness sake, Izzy. The last time I looked at you, you didn't have flippers. You're not a dolphin. Honestly, I can see exactly what Roger's talking about. Your pea-sized pregnancy brain is leading you astray up the garden path. You're not making any sense with these whimsical fancies of yours. Have you any comprehension of how painful it is to give birth? Let me tell you one thing for nothing, Izzy. When you're in that birthing pool, you're going to be in agonizing pain, and you're going to be wishing with all your heart you would listen to me and Rog. And you will be wishing that you had an epidural or something like that to offer you relief. But you're not going to have any of that in a birthing pool. Why do you think I only ever had one child? Some women conveniently forget the pain they have during childbirth. But I never forgot it for a second, and I knew that I could never go through that nightmare again. I even clandestinely hid my contraceptive tablets from my husband, because I knew I was not going to go through that pain ever again. My husband just simply believed I couldn't fall pregnant, and that was that. Of course I'm aware of the pain that a woman goes through, Cora, when they're giving birth. I'm not stupid. Believe it or not, I want to embrace the pain. Feel it all. Animals do it in the wild, don't they? They haven't got a choice in the matter. But we humans, we want to subdue everything with painkillers, to numb the pain.
You're not an animal, Izzy, for God's sake. I can see that there is no talking any common sense into you. If you ask me, you're as deranged as your next-door neighbour so obviously is. I curse the day that vagabond moved into the next-door apartment to yours. She's an appalling influence on you. All this New Age stuff, it's ridiculous. Rog says that since she's moved in, you've become much more sloppy, and this friend appears to be encouraging you to be a slob. Now, I'm very disappointed in you, Izzy. Really, I am. I expected better from the likes of you. You're really letting Rog down, and you're letting me down. He's so gutted about this barbaric decision of yours. And as far as I'm concerned, you're letting your baby down as well. I hope you're proud of yourself, Izzy.
Look, Cora, I'm not deliberately trying to upset you or Rog. That's the last thing I want to do. And I'm sorry you don't agree with my birthing plan. But I am doing things for me, and it's not because I'm being selfish. It's what's going to work for me. It's what I want. It's the most comfortable way for me to deliver my baby. I want to assure you I have a great midwife on hand. She's helped people give birth lots and lots of times. She has a plethora of experience behind her, and she knows all about birthing pools.
And that's supposed to make me feel better, Izzy, is it? Well, I assure you it is doing no such thing. I don't care how professional your midwife claims to be, or how many babies she successfully delivered. That is not the point. She's encouraging you down this crazy path. So she's as bad as your gynecologist is. Babies are not meant to be born in the water. You're not a bloody dolphin, are you?
She slammed down the phone on me. Good on you, Izzy, I said, for sticking up for yourself. I'm proud of you. But think about it. Long term, are you really going to stay with Rog after you've actually given birth to your baby? I mean, the man makes you so unhappy. Why don't you just leave him for good? You can't spend the rest of your life feeling unhappy. And why would you want to raise your child in a dysfunctional home? Kids can pick up on their parents' unhappy energy, you know. It's not good for them. It's far better to be a single parent than to raise a child in an unhappy environment. I really believe that, you know.
If only it were that easy, Izzy sighed.
Then I would leave Rog in a heartbeat. But the trouble is, there's so many challenges for me, raising a child on my own. Financially, I could never afford to abscond. Where would I go? And knowing Rog, he'd come after me and drag me back home. He's very persuasive, you know. You could stay with me, I said. I would look out for you. I'd help look after you. It's kind of you to say, but it's not practical. You know it isn't. There's my baby to consider, said Izzy. He or she is going to need a father, and I'm not sure I can raise my child without Roger's help. I do know raising a baby is hard work. You only have to look at breastfeeding mothers to know this. They always look completely worn out, and that's likely going to be me. I'm worn out before I even give birth to this baby. So I haven't got the stomach to do this all on my own. I mean, I'd need to become a single working mother, and I haven't got the strength to do that, to go to work and then look after my baby at the same time, organise childcare and that. In an ideal world, I'd love to leave Rog. That would be the most wonderful thing to do. But the practicalities make that decision close to impossible for me. Don't you see? I do get it. I really do. So there we are. That is the end of part 3. Part 4 is tomorrow night. I look forward to you joining me then. Until next time, goodbye and good night.